Hello and welcome to my dissociative identity disorder. I am Constance Miller. For this episode, I'm going to kind of recap what dissociative identity disorder is and what it means to me as somebody living with it. And I've taken to social media and asked people for questions about the disorder, and I've gathered a few, and I'm gonna go ahead and read off those questions and then answer them. So here we go. How does dissociative identity disorder come into being? Well, it usually stems from childhood trauma. I'm trying not to say trigger words here. But terrible things that can happen to a child, usually before the age of 9. And it's not to say that dissociative identity disorder can't flare up or be present when you become an adult or a teenager. When were you diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder? I honestly haven't really kept track. According to the timeline of my videos on YouTube, it's been roughly 6 years, give or take a couple months. But I've been living with it for a long time before that, come to find out. So, but my official diagnosis was probably about 2020. What is a system? A system basically is the collection of the host and all the alters that may be existent in the system. So it's a collection. A combination of sorts, and depending on whether you're dissociative identity disorder or otherwise specified dissociative disorder, the characteristics of the system could be different. What is an alter? An alter is a separate personality, somebody who is not the host of the system. I, for one, am the host of my system, and I have at least 8 active personalities. I have several more dormant ones, or ones that have fronted. What is fronting? Fronting is when a personality comes out. And that means I get amnesia when that happens. And they take over my life for any given amount of time. How many alters do I have? Well, I actually already answered that. There are at least 8 active alters in my system right now, and they're all different, and I'll get to those here in a little bit. Tell me about your alters. Okay, I'm going to try to make this quick and simple. And I'm going to do the primary 8 that are currently active. So I'm going to start with Joe. Joe is most like me before transition. And he has a love of potatoes. We keep potatoes in the house just for Joe. He's not as frequent as he used to be, but every once in a while when we're making french fries or something, the smell of the potatoes will trigger him, and he'll come out and be like, "Do I smell potatoes?" Bella is roughly 12 years old, and she is scared of every loud noise that she hears. And she takes comfort in a stuffed bear that she holds close to her chest. She has one that Derek made for her, but she has also adopted some of my stuffed bears that I own. And she calls Derek Bear, which is oddly correct. And she calls Snickers, our cat, Little Bear. So whatever she calls Bear, she has comfort in. Jared. Jared is our southern gentleman. He's very polite, very respectful, has a very distinct southern accent, and there aren't really any other distinguishing quirks about him. He's just very respectful, polite, and yeah. Charlotte. She used to be known as a different name. She has recently come out as a transgender female, and she spells her name Sharloughtte. So it's more like Charlotte instead of Charlotte, depending on your regional accents. And she is best known, she's British, and she is a worldwide known photographer, and she has lived a lush life. Loves performing at Vita out on our balcony. And she's not a good singer. And she has people for things. People to cook for her, people to take her places. And I'll get into a little bit more about that later. But that's Charlotte. Or Charlotte. Karis. Karis started out as an enemy of the system. She was very aggressive, almost homicidal. Spoke like a snake. But she's calmed down a lot. And she's become more of a mother figure of the system. Yeah, that's about all I can say about Karis. Ymir. Ymir is our Ukrainian houseboy. And some might think that there's some sexual exchange with that. There is not. Ymir is heterosexual. He is working for us to save money to build a family, find a wife and have children. And he had a very hard time at the beginning, believing that that would not be so. He hasn't really brought it up as far as I know. And he has a very thick accent. He calls Snickers our cat, Katya. Yeah. He's being a houseboy. He doesn't do a lot of cleaning, actually. He has cleaned our downstairs toilet a couple times and has done remarkably better than I would have, which I'm very jealous about. But he doesn't really take initiative to really do anything. He doesn't typically stick around very long. So, Raylan. Raylan is... Oh, how did she put it? Derek told me, but I forgot exactly how she put it. Something like a desirable lady of the night. She hails from Cape Town, South Africa. And that's pretty much all we know. She's the newest alter, so we don't really know much about her other than her occupation. Yeah. Then there's Gordon. Gordon is the one that started it all. Well, he didn't start it. He amplified it by choosing self-deletion. And that resulted in me getting diagnosed with DID. He's calmed down quite a bit, but he's the rebel of the group. He's also a bit of a father figure now, but he still rebels. He'll smoke in the apartment. He'll drink the alcohol that we have here, which we don't keep a lot of alcohol in the house. But if we do, chances are, if it's not drank, he'll drink it. Now back to the questions. Do the alters have different opinions? Yes. Charlotte is very judgmental. She likes to mock people. And I wouldn't say that there's hate behind it, but you often fear what you don't understand. So I think maybe that she just isn't well versed in life, despite her worldly aspects. So yeah, other than that, it's probably the best example that I can think of. Do your alters have different food preferences? Yes. For instance, Bella likes chicken nuggets, and she likes to dip them in ketchup. Now, while I don't dislike ketchup, I don't personally use it, ever. Ever. If it's on something I get from a restaurant, When I order something, that's fine. I don't mind. But if I have a choice to use something at home, it's never ketchup. And that's one of her preferences. She also, what is it that she didn't like? Oh, tuna salad. She doesn't like tuna salad, which I happen to love, and we need more. Honestly, it's been a while since we've had some. Do you have a supportive partner? Yes, I do. My husband Derek, he and I have been together for just about 10 years now. We've known each other for 10 years, but we've officially, will officially be together 10 years in April. 6 years married in May. And he has a relationship with all the alters. He's the one that's got to put up with them. But he hasn't left me because of this. And that is a blessing. A true and absolute blessing that I have in my life. That somebody would stick around and help me through the journey of navigating all these personalities. And he has to put up with their bullshit. He has to put up with their sadness when they're sad. He has to put up with them if they get drunk, which doesn't happen very often, because that's Gordon, and he's more well-behaved now. So yeah, I have a very, very, very extremely supportive partner. What's it like being labeled as crazy? I hate that word. It's almost as bad as the N-word, the F-word, the longer F-word, and the T-word. I don't like it at all. Because I'm a human being. I can't help this. I can't help what's going on in my head. And no, I don't get to control what happens in my system. OSDD is a little bit different because they can communicate with each other, and DID, the amnesia hits the host when an alter is present. And yes, I've done research on that. How is this affecting your life? It's hard. It's difficult. I lose so much time out of my life whenever an alter is fronting. I don't get to live my best life. My husband doesn't get to live his life with me. Sadly, I don't have my mom anymore, and that is a big trigger for me right now, too. So it's very, very hard to navigate. Some of the best aspects of it, though, are when I get to hear stories from Derek about one of the alters that has done something completely hilarious, or Charlotte going to the cemetery across the street and just randomly selecting headstones and giving her wishes of peace and blessings. The stories that I get to hear are tough. But sometimes they make me very happy. Sometimes I get to see the parts of me that are in each of them. So yeah. That is going to conclude it for this episode. I hope for some odd reason that you learned something about dissociative identity disorder. Love and light to you all.